Hi, everybody. This is Greg Suchy here with Dicken Bettinger. We're just going to talk a little bit about the upcoming Three Principles Cruise, February of 2017. Dick and I'm really ecstatic to have you be one of the speakers. I think that's just going to be an exciting thing. I want to know why you said yes. Why do you want to be a part of this? What really excites you about it?
I love learning that takes place in beautiful settings. I love the notion of retreats. I love the notion of being out in nature, on the water. I think that with the kind of learning that we're interested in, we're not so much interested in information learning, which you can do in a room without windows. We're more interested in what I would call insight learning. And insight learning happens best when people are very relaxed and at ease and feeling good. You get a group of people together who are relaxed, at ease, and feeling good. You can't stop those people from having new thoughts or insights when they reflect on something that they're interested in. So I love the format. I have to tell you, I think it's a wonderful way to help people, help facilitate the whole process of learning by insight. I also like the idea of the cruise because of the quality of the presenters that are going to be coming. I just think the world of the other presenters and what they're currently teaching and offering, and the feeling, the beautiful feeling in which they're doing that. So I just know that given the setting and given the people who will be sharing on this cruise, it's a no-brainer for people having transformative shifts within themselves. And to tell you the truth, Greg, my whole career has been focusing on what can people learn that will help them have shifts so that they're able to operate at higher and higher levels of well-being. And all of this comes steeped in a background of what we call the three principles. And I've been a psychologist for over 40 years. I'm retired now, but for 30 of those, for my whole career, I was focused on psychological well-being. And for the last 30 years ago, I came across a man named Sydney Banks who had a profound epiphany, enlightenment experience, awakening, where he realized the fundamental nature of human experience and existence. And that when I first met him, he claimed that if you have insight into these fundamental principles, it's a guarantee that your level of well-being will increase. Now, I'd never heard anybody ever make that claim before. And that the fact that this kind of inner transformation can happen without having to work on yourself and utilize techniques and effort was such a shock for me, because everything at that time that I came across in both psychological and spiritual teachings had to do with a lot of hard work, practice, effort, techniques. And it was based around the fundamental assumption that we're all missing something as human beings, and we have to develop it. So we have to develop our capacity to be more loving. We have to develop our capacity to be more understanding, right? We have to work on it. So I took that very seriously, Greg. I was meditating 4 hours a day. I was trained myself to wake up at the end of REM sleep and was recording by flashlight 5 full-length dreams every night to work on. I was recording the content of my thinking and challenging it and trying to reframe it in a more positive way. I had affirmation notebooks. I had structured journals. I had unstructured journals. And I was reading several self-improvement books every single week. And I had a family and kids. So I had to get up at 4 a.m. to start working on myself. Right? And along comes Sydney Banks. And he suggests that each of us already have perfect well-being at our core. And that no one has to work on developing it because you already have it. And that the only thing that gets in our way is a misunderstanding about the nature of thought. And that as you have insight into the true nature of thought and how human beings come to have experience, those insights will lead you to have less and less on your mind, and you become more and more fully engaged in life in the present moment. And you take any human being and clear their head and throw them fully into the present moment, and guarantee they'll start to feel better and think better without any effort on their part. Free gifts. When I started to learn this, it seemed too good to be true. I could not believe it could be this simple. And I could not believe that a welder from Scotland with a 9th grade education could have realized the secret to the human mind and realized the secret to psychological and spiritual well-being, and that it didn't require effort. It just required seeing life as it is rather than through our distorted conceptual framework. So right now, what I'm most excited about sharing on this trip is how innocently we all get caught up in our own personal thought-created world, and that any thought-created world is rife with limitation, with judgments, with shoulds, with limited ideas and concepts and beliefs. And the good news is people can come to realize the nature of life in such a way that you progressively become more and more free of the limitations you've been living in without even realizing it. And as you become free of those limitations, you discover a dimension deep within each of us that's always already free. That's the essence of love and compassion and understanding and wisdom. And that as our insight into the nature of the fundamental principles that govern human behavior, as we gain insight into those principles, we have internal shifts that allow us to see the world with greater accuracy, greater clarity, that inevitably will bring more love and more understanding into the world. It's a guarantee, and I've been working with clients with this understanding for 30 years, and I never take for granted how every human being has built inside of them everything they need for perfect well-being, and that it's available to people. It's already true and here, and it's just our misunderstanding, our own thinking, our own attachment to our own thinking, our own belief in the content of our own thinking that puts up an arbitrary, unnecessary limitation on us to be able to fully embrace life with joy and peace and love. And it's the best thing I've ever learned. I feel so honored and privileged to be able to have an opportunity to share that with people on this cruise. So that's why I'm interested in this cruise. Right?
Very well put. It's funny you brought up the dream tracking thing. I actually, one of my attempts to improve myself was I became a master at lucid dreaming. It took almost a year of practice, and I got to the point where I could completely control my dreams, and what ended up coming out of that was I hated being awake. You know, and it actually created the exact opposite of what I was hoping to achieve with it.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
And then, you know, a year and a half ago when I was introduced to the principles, I just, my thought said it's too simple. You know, the little mind was like, no, this can't be it. There has to be something more. Where's the 2,000-page manual? Where's the, you know, the 30 steps to spiritual enlightenment through the principles? But something deeper inside said, no, this is it. This is true. And that's what I found more and more about this as, I mean, I really spent the first probably 10 months or so after I was introduced to the principles trying to debunk them for myself, just trying to find a time or a space or something where they didn't apply. And I couldn't find a single one. You know, and but it wasn't trying to find something where it didn't apply as in a way of, you know, it wasn't a negative thing. It was a strange approach to it. It was more or less just showing myself, yeah, this is it. This is really it. And I'm absolutely ecstatic about being able to put together this cruise. And, you know, you and the other 3 speakers that are involved are just, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. You know, it's just going to be such a beautiful experience. And I really look forward to finally meeting you in person in February.
Well, I look forward to the cruise, and I look forward to meeting everybody who comes along on this journey. It promises to be a powerhouse of a time. So I'm looking forward to it.
Same here, Dicken. Well, thanks very much for talking to me.
You're welcome, Craig. See you later.